Hello, 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 hello. Welcome this evening. How are you guys doing? I am Lady Roy, and welcome to the live. We are down here to do a American Medicine recap. Um, yeah, I am tired. I don't know why all of a sudden I just got really, really exhausted, but we still gonna do this recap. How about that? Tired or not, we're gonna get it done. Anywho, I hope you guys have had a good afternoon, a good evening, a good work day. I had a great work day. Glad it's over though. A to the man. Super, super glad it's over. Glad to be here. Hey, living for me. Hey, Symmetry. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so very much because I didn't pull it up for some reason. Yeah, let me clean my glasses real quick. We're going to get started. I was down. Butterfly was cooking and I was cooking. So I got a chance to watch her cook as I was cooking and then enjoy my cooking meal while she was chit chatting. I made some homemade mac and cheese and made me some broccolini and a salad and made me a pan of meatloaf. That is the dinner for tonight. So I got to give me a quick bite real quick and came running up here to do this live. Hey, Symmetry. Oh, living for me speaking. I'm sorry. Anywho, Married to Medicine this week was a hoot. Part two of the reunion was a hoot. It was a lot to absorb. It was a lot to take in. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. Um, but I will tell you this: there are a lot of things that I don't know if we overlook it or we forgot or times have changed. I'm not sure what's going on. But a couple of things. I noticed that all of a sudden there's this like big group of people who support Eugene and Toya. And this is my first rodeo. I've been watching this show since it first came on. And there's always been, some contempt for Toya. So I'm not sure where this is coming from, where everybody is hooting and hotting over Toya, but that's what it seems to be. So much and so that they are really giving Steve a hard time. They really are. I'm just to put a poll in the chat. Maybe people can go through and actually vote on it. Who do you think who do you think had the best season this year on this season on Married to Medicine? Give me 1 second. I'm about to put it here. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say my first choice is Toya. I think she had a great season. I think she had a really, really great season. Heavenly, I think, had a great season as well. Toya was more vocal, very, very vocal. Who else? Let's say had a good. Simone was super loud, so I don't know if you would consider her having a good season, but she was definitely loud this season. I think this is only giving me 4 options, so we're gonna go with this one. Not put it in the thing. Who you thought had the best season? Why is it over there? Why is it over there? Hold on, y'all. I don't know if it's supposed to be over yonder. Oh, I guess it goes on your screen. Okay. Y'all, this is new. That's new. You said I just got home. I'm too tired to cook or eat. That was me. I was too tired, but I had a taste for some turkey meatloaf and I had already taken the ground turkey out. So I thought I might as well get it done. And that's what I did. She said I did Taco Tuesday. I don't care what Butterfly said. I know that's right, living for me. If you got a taste for tacos, do Taco Tuesday. I didn't have a taste for tacos. I had a taste for a meatloaf. So that's what I made. That's what I made. So really on this season, there has been this big deal of um some type of issue with Mimi and Steve. I think that if you really sit back and look at it, Mimi and Steve brought a lot to this season. They brought the fact that they have a son who's autistic. We didn't see that last season. Hey, Riri speaks. So it was good to be able to see that this is someone who is a physician, but also is common, just like everybody else, because she deals with the same griefs and pains and heartaches that everyone else is dealing with because she has a son who has autism. So we know that that is pretty much things that people deal with on a day-to-day basis. Simba just said, I'm going to say heavenly specifically because she learned self-composure. I will agree with that for once. She tried her best not to go off on her castmates, even though they kept poking. She really did on this reunion. Now, throughout the season, I would say Heavenly, she tried, but she did not. But I will say that she has exhibited more self-restraint during the reunion than probably ever she's ever done. The one thing I will say about Heavenly running for office is, you remember when she used to be saying she was on her spiritual journey and she was trying to get right with God. Y'all remember when Heavenly used to do all that? And Heavenly was not as restrained as she was on this reunion stage, and I appreciate it. I appreciate her having her composure, staying calm as well as she could, and actually engaging really well. I think she took a lot of heat and she didn't go back and forth probably as hard as she has in past seasons. So definitely with that one. So we're gonna get on into it. So we know that um the scene, this part two opened up with Jackie pretty much sitting in Simone's lap and what can I do? What can I tell me what I could do, Simone, to make it better? And Simone is like, oh, yeah, you can't do nothing, girl. I am done. I am over. This is what Simone is telling her. I am over with it. I'm over it. There's nothing you can do. Cook my goose. I don't know what else she was over there saying, but pretty much in those things. And she said, I need you to, the one thing that Simone said that stood out to me was, I needed for you to represent me. Now, I don't know if anybody thought that was weird. I thought that was pretty weird. Why does Jackie need to represent Simone? Simone's a grown woman. So why can't Simone represent her own self, right? Why does she need another physician to represent her? I needed you to represent me. And if you're going to be my friend, you need to represent me. That maybe she used the wrong choice of words. I thought that was strange. And so Jackie did validate her, and she said that no, you did not push Heavenly. That was all Simone said she wanted to hear. That's it. That's all I wanted. I don't believe that. If you go back in years past, seasons past, Simone tends to really act out at the reunions. So much is so we see that when they take a break and they go to the breakout room, Simone tells Quad, you remember this room? Remember this room? And Quad said, girl, that's done. You need to let that go. Pretty much like, why are we discussing this? This is so in the past. But Simone, even though she swears Quad has a hard time letting go, Simone pretty much is deflecting because she has a hard time letting go. Simone wants Jackie and Quad to grovel at her feet to be her friend. She actually does. And when they don't, she acts out. I don't know if anybody else sees it, but I see it. When they don't grovel and beg and go eye to eye, she's sitting there with a tear running down her cheek, ruining her makeup because she is so self-absorbed. She wants Jackie to kiss her derriere. And I don't think that's fair. I think they put a lot of heat on Jackie that she actually does not deserve. Jackie is a physician. She has to look out for her own reputation and represent her own self while you out here screaming and hollering at the people, right? So while you out there screaming and hollering at the people, you telling Jackie, I need you to represent me. I need you to be my friend. So Jackie needs to represent you even when you're doing things that she doesn't necessarily agree with. That don't make any sense. It don't make any sense to me. Sorry, it just don't. Um, so of course, again, like I said, Jackie's she's groveled and she's agreed that she didn't hit Heavenly and that's all she wanted. Heavenly was still saying, I felt like you hit me. Tomato, tomato. If you look at the video, I will say this. So Simone removed Heavenly's hand aggressively. Whether or not she should have touched her, shouldn't have touched her, that's neither here nor there. She did remove her hand aggressively. Was Simone acting unhinged? We done seen Simone do a lot of unhinged things. That's just the nature of the beast. We've seen her screaming and hollering. We saw her on a boat acting up. We saw her at the reunions acting up. This isn't anything new. So using the word as unhinged is not, I don't think that was as bad as Simone is trying to make it seem. Doesn't she have representation through Toya? I thought so. Because the moment they started getting on to Toya, Simone stepped in and she took over. She took over pretty much and said, well, when someone has an event, they don't have to let you in. That was the first time we've heard her probably talk in a very monotone voice because normally she's screaming. But she was like, when someone anywhere you go, if someone's hosting an event, they don't have to let you in if they don't want you to. This was a working event. And I don't care what you say, Simone. I don't care what you say, Toya. I guarantee you, Bravo said you have to let them in. That's neither here nor there. Anyway. Andy says, let's all heal, let's hug it out, let's whatever. I don't believe none of it. I believe next year we'll see the same thing over and over with Simone if she returns, doing this right on back over to back with one of the ladies. She's gonna have an issue with one of the ladies. It's a cycle, and Simone's been doing this since season 2. It's a cycle. Next they slide over to the husbands are in that breakout room in the back where I saw liquor, I saw food, and the gentlemen are talking, and Curtis is joking, and he told Scott, he said, don't keep my wife's name out your mouth. And they're laughing back and forth, and he makes a joke that Contessa's always telling somebody they look good and calling them baby and all that. So they have a little light joke. And then Curtis addresses Eugene and he asks Eugene, what is this about? Somebody's already voted heavily, 100%. What is this about? Toya going on Watch What's Happening Live, and she actually said that, I've touched several women and can't keep my hands to myself, and that she's had conversations with different women. And Eugene, of course, tries to deflect it off, but Curtis is trying to hold him to the fire. Eugene's not trying to have it. But we're not gonna play semantics. Yeah, Curtis, you had your hand around Heavenly's waist, and I would say it was inappropriate. I would say it's inappropriate. I don't know what others would say, but I think it's inappropriate. I believe that your hands should have been by your side. If you stood next to her, maybe on her shoulder, but not around her waist. She's a married woman. You're a married man. And it just didn't look right. It didn't look right. And the very fact that Damon was on the other end by Jackie, I'm like, what happened? They was just standing around talking and everybody just said, hey, let's take a picture. I don't know. But his hand being on the waist was a little different. And I think that's the reason why it was brought up on What's Happening Live, because this picture was taken over the summer. Also, we also know that, Curtis took his other lady through the business airport in the United States. Hey, Shayna, which we know is called the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson Airport. And So that's another one. He had his arm around her shoulder or her waist, and then you have he said Toya in his lap, as they call it, lapgate. So I just really feel like Curtis might be missing a portion, and Eugene maybe. I think that they're just missing the mark. I believe that they should have come together to a reasonable understanding that it did happen. It did happen. We're not going to ignore it. It did happen, but Toya should not be bringing it up at this point. Eugene said when it happened, he didn't think nothing of it. Toya was joking when he sat on her lap. She did not fight him and did not try to get up, right? So I think that they should have, it shouldn't have been something that was brought back up. This happened in 2017. We're in 2026. That was almost 10 years ago. I think it was time to let it go. And then, of course, Eugene in the conversation with Curtis, he brings up, that Curtis has done some things that haven't been always favorable to Curtis. But I think the very fact that Curtis just wants Eugene to, if you're gonna be trying to hold Damon's feet to the fire and say, hey, Damon don't need to be talking about, he don't need to be, Damon needs to be addressing Heavenly and what she's saying, then I think Curtis is saying the same thing to Eugene. You need to be holding Toya's feet to the fire, just like you want uh Damon to do the same. He said, why bring up his affair as well? Do they not care about Jackie's feelings? Apparently not. I think that when these women decide they want to go low, they just have no holds barred. Like you just do whatever. I don't think there's a level to how low they will go. Honestly, Symmetry. I really feel that way. Back over with the ladies. I want to go back a little bit. Contessa tells Heavenly, I think it's kind of weird that when you get upset, that you use these trigger words, is I think the word she used. Unhinged, security. And Heavenly says, girl, no. Don't get it twisted. I was calling I was calling security for you. Cause you coming around here like a sumo wrestler trying to fight me. So I wasn't calling security to come over here and sit down and chill. I was calling them because I was afraid for my life. Versus Simone, I don't think Simone was gonna fight me, but Simone does act unhinged. I think Heavenly tried to explain that as much as she could without getting really graphic and low like sometimes she does do. But I will tell you this, that whole scene with Jackie, I felt was performative. I felt like it wasn't meant wholeheartedly with Simone's side. I believe Jackie does mean it. I believe Jackie wants to stay neutral, but I think it's really hard to be a friend with Simone. I'm being very, very honest. I believe that Jackie may not, and I'm being very honest, I believe that Jackie may not agree with Simone's behavior. So when you don't agree with your friends' behavior, it's kind of hard to agree that they're right, because I don't agree with your behavior. That's something I wouldn't do. That's neither here nor there. Cecil talks about his marriage when the men are talking and how he feels confidence in the marriages. And child, Cecil, don't, if I was you, I'd sleep with one eye open, because I don't know about your wife. She might hang you out to dry one day. Let's see. So again, we talk about the lap incident. They do a lap flashback with the guys. And then let's talk about the very fact that they brought up the Med Gala. They start talking about the Med Gala. That's one of the things I do really want to just get into it, is the Med Gala. I'm trying to think, where should I start? Where should I start with this Med Gala? Because there's so much to be involved when it comes down to the guys. So the guys are sitting out on the stage, Andy in the center, ladies in the back. And I really enjoy the banner that the guys normally bring to the stage. But this year, it was off. It's been off in seasons before, but this season, it was off at the reunion. And I think the reasons being could be a number of things. So we're going to address some of those. Yesterday, I saw Carlos King on his live podcast say that he knows for a fact that Dr. Mimi and Steve actually watched the What's Happening Live video between Eugene and Toya the day before the reunion, which explains why Steve came in hot. That means that explains the whole angry part, right? Because there's been some time since filming and the reunion. So Carlos said he knows for a fact. He said that he interviewed with Toya and Eugene. I think he said like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. He said he paid extra money to have the video edited in 24 hours so it could be out on Thursday. So it was out on Thursday. Reunion was Friday. I'm sorry. Did I say what? I thought I said Carlos King interview. I'm sorry. Not watch What's Happening Live, but the Carlos King interview that Toya and Eugene did with Carlos King. It actually aired that Thursday and the reunion was that Friday. So if the reunion was that Friday, that was fresh on everybody's mind, especially Steve and Mimi, because they actually were a lot of the conversation that Toya and Eugene gave. Toya actually insinuated that Steve may have been bisexual. She actually insinuated that he could be gay. And I'll tell you why. Carlos said that that Steve was a nice looking gentleman. And Toya said, yes, all of the boys say that. Take with that what you will, but we all know what she was talking about. She wasn't talking about little boys playing on a baseball field or out running football. She was talking about the boys. And I think that sometimes Toya crosses boundaries, but her and her husband want to take it personal when people cross those same boundaries with them. We do see that Steve is still they talked in the back room. Now they're out in the front. And Steve is still giving it to Eugene. He's still telling Eugene that he felt like they were targeted. He told Eugene did not feel that way at all. He didn't feel like they were targeted. He thought it was, he was just doing what he was supposed to do. Help his wife over there at the Med Gala. They was collecting money. You didn't pay no money, and you was supposed to come in here because you said you wasn't gonna come. Why did you show up? And Andy, I don't think he took any sides. I think he tried to be as neutral as he could. He tried to be neutral. I don't think his neutralization works very well. And I don't really think Andy really cares about any of the people on any of the African American cast. And it's just my opinion. It don't make it true. It's just my opinion. It don't matter. That don't mean it's facts. But I just notice how sometimes, and maybe he doesn't care about anybody's opinion. I tend to only watch these shows, but I can see that sometimes it seems as though Andy kind of disassociates himself with what these people are doing or what is going on these, even though he knows what's happening. It doesn't seem like he's really involved in the feedback, getting down to the guts, the meats and the potatoes. I use that word of what has happened in those scenes. I think sometimes he just kind of be like, okay, and moves on. Because even when they start arguing, sometimes it seems like he's irritated, and they have been out there, sometimes filming for hours. So I can definitely understand how he gets anxious and he gets upset, with the ladies, and when they continue to argue and he's trying to move on to something else. So Steve and Eugene are pretty much going back and forth, and Eugene makes the comment on the stage where the camera is, not in the back, but on the stage, that I've been here 10 years. And the guy, he said the aura or the feeling is off, and the only thing different pretty much is you. I'll be here when you're gone. He made a lot of innuendos that may not necessarily be true, because he's not a boss. He doesn't own the show. His wife's a cast member just like the rest of the people. And I'm gonna be very honest with you, and this is just how I feel about it. I really believe that they actually need the show. I believe that the Harrises, they need the show, and that's part of the reason why they kind of come out here um giving it to us raw and uncut. I really believe they need that income to, garnish to pay for their lifestyle. They live a Toya lives a very luxurious lifestyle. She dresses a certain way. She wants this. They just bought this big house. So they got to give it to us. They got to keep it going. But to insinuate that Steve is no good here versus you not being any good here is crazy. For the very fact of Steve and Mimi they brought something to the show. The only thing that I've seen Eugene and Toya bring is drama. I'm just calling it out like it is. They have these. We see Dr. Mimi and Steve with young children. Toya and her husband, their children are growing older. Um, and I just feel like that we need young blood. We need young, fresh individuals to come on this show and give us some really good TV. That's what we all want. That's what we all want. But Eugene trying to act as though the men have never gone round around is just simply not true. And we're going to revisit that. Eugene, Curtis, and Steve, they go on back and forth this season, right? But let's talk about in seasons past. Eugene and Dr. Damon Kimes, they also went back and forth. If you really look at it, Eugene was gunning for Damon. I want to say when the season started, he wanted Damon to draw a line in the sand and go off on Heavenly, and he wanted to see him go off on Heavenly, and he wanted to talk about it. And I'm gonna be very honest with you. If Damon had not said, "Don't talk about my son," I really believe there was an opportunity and there was a time that the Harrises were willing to talk about their son. They were willing to talk about Damon Jr. and whatever they felt like was going on with him. They were. Even though we heard Toya saying, "Oh, I wasn't going to talk about your son." Guarantee you Toya was getting ready to talk about the son. As we've seen in like the first 2 or 3 episodes, they're at Simone's house and Toya mentions it to Simone, and Simone says, "Whatever you heard is true." Because these are two peas in a pod. They tend to bounce off of each other. And so I know for a fact, and if you watched it, you could have seen it. You could have seen it that Eugene was gunning for Damon the whole season. When they got to Jamaica, he was gunning for Damon. He wanted to rile Damon up on the beach. Damon just like, "Dude, I'm not talking about that. We're not going there. These women can fight their own battles among each other. They don't need the men to step in and fight." And I don't know why Eugene just doesn't get that. And I understand Damon when he says, "I talk to Heavenly. Y'all think I don't, but I talk to Heavenly. And I tell Heavenly when she's wrong." He also said, and I also agree with this, Heavenly don't talk bad about Damon in front of the cameras. So why should he talk bad about Heavenly in front of the cameras? There's some things that you should protect your spouse from. You should be a safe space for your spouse. You shouldn't be on screen talking about your spouse. You shouldn't be out in public talking about your spouse with other people who don't mean you any good. There's some things that should only go on behind closed doors. Whenever I'm at a wedding and they'll ask me, "Put something on a piece of paper and drop it in the box," or tell the bride or the groom something that you would do. And I always say there are going to be some things that you can't tell anybody but God. And I mean that. I truly mean that. I really believe Damon gets on to Heavenly, and because he told Heavenly, "I need you to stop going at these men because now you're putting me in it, because the moment they go at you, I'm going to have to go back at them." Right? But as long as you're talking to these women, y'all keep it among yourselves. Don't bring it over here to the guys. That way we don't have to deal with that. So let's go over to some of the issues that we've seen. We've seen Dr. Gregory Lunsford and Dr. Damon Kynes arguing, right? Dr. G confronted Damon about Heavenly's behavior. He did. I'm not sure which season this is. I want to say it was season 11. that this happened. Dr. G felt Damon allowed Heavenly to disrespect people. He said it out loud. He blew up. You let her say whatever she want to go say. And Damon tends to stay calm, which makes all of the rest of the guys, well, not say all the rest of them, it made Dr. G frustrated, and apparently it burns Eugene's hide up. And then let's move on some more. We got Dr. Eugene and Dr. Karen that went at it. If you remember Dr. Karen, he was married to Anila. Anila and Toya were supposed to be friends, and they went at it on the reunion stage. Karen, they wanted Dr. Karen to apologize. He would not. He said, I ain't apologizing. Not one bit. All of this was over the very fact that Karen questioned Toya about their home being broken into. Not only that, they also dressed up as U-Haul drivers. They brought a U-Haul for Halloween, came up in the driveway, got out with U-Haul clothes on, and Toya and Eugene got in their feelings about it. So him saying that they've never had conflict among the men is a whole lie. Not only that, Kima, if y'all remember Kima was married to, I think she was an attorney. She used to be on the show, African girl, really cute. I follow her on Facebook, and she recently had a baby. His name is Kima. But Kima and the gentleman got into it. Alicia, that was her name. She's not African. She's not African. In fact, she's a physician. Right. Alicia was a physician. Dark skin, pretty, long hair. Well, she wore a wig, but it was always long. And she was really quiet. I think she was only on for one season. And Audra, is her name Audra or Alicia? Was it Alicia? Hold on, let me look at it. Kima is the husband of Dr. Alicia Igola, married. So I knew their name. Their name was African because I think he's African. She's American. Yeah, Dr. Alicia. And the guys went at it with Kima because Kima had all these old-fashioned values. He believed that the women had roles and the men had roles. He believed in gender roles among the couples. And the guys did not like his traditional views. He felt like you said Audra and Alicia were only on for one. Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. Audra and Alicia were only, they both were on for one season each. Audra is the one who, she's the attorney who wanted to fight. Yeah, she was going to walk upside the head. Yeah, but I'm talking about Dr. Alicia. Kima, and actually Eugene was the one who was mouthing with Kima about the traditional roles because he was talking about the way the women served them. And he was talking preferably about Eugene because he was fixing Toya's plate. I never forget that one. And it turned into a big debate. It wasn't all that great. So for Eugene to keep saying that there's never been conflict among the men is simply not true. There has been conflict among the men. Them just sitting around, just having their random conversation, there's been conflict. Audra's husband was a dentist, right? Yes. Yes. He's a dentist. And they're like on their either third or fourth child because she was just pregnant last year. I follow her on Instagram. I really like her. I always liked her. Even on the show I liked her because I believe she gave the feistiness that Toya needed. She needed that youth and the feistiness because Toya has not always given us the brightest chick, right? So Audra's super smart girl. And she brought it. She really brought it. But Audra, I believe her and her husband left the show because they wanted to grow their family. They wanted to have children. And they didn't want the stressors of the show on them, which you can't really blame them for that. So I made a little poll. It says Eugene is the most confrontational husband. You said, sorry, let me not distract from the company. That's okay. You're fine. You're fine because I'm kind of all over the place. Eugene is the most confrontational husband. He loves confrontation. But there's a caveat. I think Steve pushed him a little too far this time. Steve kept going at him, but I think Steve kept going at him because he was pissed off. And if everything Carlos said is true, they had just watched the video, I believe Steve had every right to be upset. His manhood was called into question. Someone set up and said that he talked too much, that he spends X amount of money on his clothes. So much is so, if they're real. She made the comment, if they're real. So much is so that we saw him going into the Louis Vuitton store. Now they have a collaboration where he's going to be given, I think, auctioning off the clothes that he's worn on this particular season of Married to Medicine to raise money for autism awareness. Super, super great idea. But it's crazy work that they thought that was just going to be, that they were just going to let that fly by. Y'all, is there some way you could click on something out there? Because somebody actually has tapped on the screen, because I see 100%. I can't even see it on this side. So I'm not really sure. So the poll, if you can see it, tap on that poll and let's see if we can get those numbers going. Just put the number. Okay, so just put the number in the chat. All right. So everybody believed that Heavenly had the best season this year on Married to Medicine. You said I don't see it's on the screen. So Live for Me said if you just put the number in the chat, it reads it. Really? I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna put a number in the chat and see if it reads it. Oh, it does. Okay. That's crazy. All right. I didn't know that. You see, I'm just voting for Heavenly because I like her. Haven't watched it in this season, so can't give an honest answer. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I didn't know how it worked. Honestly, to be super, super honest with you guys, I believe out of everybody on the season, I'm giving you my honest opinion. I believe that Toya probably had a better episode when it comes down to drama overall, period. When it comes down to reality of what was given this season, I'm gonna say we saw the real when it came down to Mimi and Steve in their home life. I enjoyed seeing the real. Second thing I would say that it would be Simone and her family. I believe they gave us the real. I believe them and their son sitting at the table arguing is just what they do. I really believe that's what they do. Why do people act like this is Steve and Mimi's first season? They are no longer newbies or friends of. Exactly. I don't know why either, because they were there last season. They showed us their children, but this season we got a chance to really see them. We got to see the fact that they have a son that has autism, that they have a daughter that they allow to have opportunities away from her little brother, so that she can be a kid as well without having to have that stigma of her brother who has autism, and be able to, do the things that children do that don't have someone that's always falling on the floor and screaming and kicking and the things. So we got a chance to see that, and I believe that is their real life. I believe everything we saw that included Stevie is real. The fact that he was holding on that lamp and his daddy was picking him up to move him I believe that's something they probably deal with on a daily basis. The feeding, standing in the kitchen and making sure he's eating his food, and then cleaning up. I believe that's something they do all the time because that's the reality. A second person, like I said, I believe Simone and Cecil showed us with their son. I believe that's the reality, whether we like it or not, whether we thought it was too much or not. I believe that is the reality with their boys. I will say this: Simone said that her son, Miles, she said Miles is the perfect child. She said he really just tries not to get in any trouble and flies up under the radar. She says he's a really good kid. Michael is her issue child. Mimi and Steve have both seen the Harrises for their works based on their first season. I agree with that 100%. And I believe that is what caused them to have the attitude and the, what is the other one? I'm I'm just gonna say attitude. I believe that is what caused him to have the attitude or the direction that they took with the Harrises this season. I believe after that episode where they were at the party at their home and Toya blamed them, because I believe there was more to them this show. There was more to that scene at the house than what we saw, because we didn't hear her saying, asking them a question, even though she swears she never asked the question until they rolled that beam footage back and they showed her asking them, well, what should I do? How should I talk to him then? But then when they offered her advice, she called them bees and this, that, and the other. And then we also, you remember, I don't know if I still have that picture. Let me look through my album, my photos. But you remember Steve was in the house looking around the corner like, what's going on here? No, I don't have it anymore. When they were fussing and fighting in that kitchen. So I believe there was more to that whole entire that whole scene that they edited out so much we didn't get to see the real. So I believe that was what set the mark on what Mimi and Steve and how they decided to interact with the Harrises from this for the season. Also, the very fact of you have two young ladies, Angel and Brandy, who came in on the show. I believe they are friends of, but Mimi, Dr. Mimi is a full cast member. So why was she excluded from the Med Gala? Why wasn't she aware of anything? And then Toya says at the reunion that nobody knew the finances of the Med Gala. That should not be. You should not be taking people's money and they not know what they're, because you ain't gonna take my money and I don't know what you spend it on, baby. That's not how that's gonna work. I need to see receipts. Open the books. Open the book. And that's the way it should be. They have created a 501c3 according to Dr. Jackie, to Toya. Toya said it was her idea, and I think it was a great idea to have a 501c3. You could do a lot more. You can get more donations because people tend to want to donate so they can write it off at the end of the year, especially big businesses. But with and the thing is, by doing that 501c3, the gala can actually one day stand on its own without anybody supporting it, and it should be able to go that way for years and years to come by making it a 501c3. But with the 501c3, there are laws or regulations and there are rules that you have to follow. Some of those laws, some of those regulations are you have to have a board. You cannot run a 501c3 without a board. It's illegal. And to keep that status, you got to keep those taxes. You got to keep good paper bookkeeping, because you have to do taxes at the end of the year. Whether people believe it or not, you have to do good. You have to let people know where the money is going. And when you have a 501c3, your books have to be open for review. Anybody can call and say, hey, I'm coming down Tuesday morning and I want to review the books for the ladies present the Med Gala. The ladies of Married to Medicine present the Med Gala, and they have to be available. Not my rules, these are government rules. Jackie Quad and Heavenly got to know Steve and Mimi even after last season wrapped. And that was something that I believe Steve and Mimi both said. They hadn't got a chance to know the Harrises, but the Harrises had already made up their mind. And I'm gonna tell you this: I believe Eugene would probably go along, would be a lot easier to deal with if he didn't have his wife, who he was constantly trying to defend, constantly trying to make sure that he met all of her needs. You know what I'm saying? Made her feel safe. And in the interim, she comes to him and she tells him what is being said on the, oh, so and so said this in the group chat. She shares that with him. I'm gonna tell you something. If you go back to season 1 of this show, Married to Medicine, Lake tells she tells Mariah, they're sitting, I want to say they're sitting on the bed because I can almost see this scene in my head. They're sitting on the bed or sitting in the room and they're talking. And Lake's telling Mariah about how Toya was at the beauty shop talking about Lauren not being Aiden's daughter. And Lake says, the girl don't have no friends. She don't have not one friend. And that may be why she tells Eugene everything. Because perhaps she doesn't have any outside friends. Perhaps she only has those surface friends that she plays tennis with, that she golfs with, that she ride around her golf cart in her neighborhood with. Perhaps that's only people that she spends time with other than Eugene and her sons. I mean, things like that happen all the time. I'm trying to think of something else that I wanted to say because I think I pretty much covered um, a lot of things. The very fact, oh, I know what I want to talk about. Simone talking about, you go to galas or and people they decide whether or not they want to let you in. I've already said the very fact that this was a working event. A working event. Working events, we all know, are filmed and all of the people filming must be there. We heard Contessa say herself, we've never paid to go to a working event. These people saying that they did not want to donate to the actual um gala meant absolutely nothing when it came down to attending and maybe participating in an auction or whatever you were doing to fundraise at the gala. That it meant absolutely nothing. I will say this too, in retrospect to that, is that if you throw any type of party get together and it's gonna be of any substance, 150 to 200 people, you need a venue, right? A venue. Let's say, again, I talked about this the other day, Holiday Inn, some type of venue is going to cost you money. Let's just round it up. Let's say the venue costs $10,000. That's just the venue. You still have to have decorations. And that most time, if you pay $10,000 for a venue for 100 people, that's going to include food and so on and so forth, depending on the villa. I mean, the venue. Let me erase that. Depending on the venue. Because, Chad, my daughter looked at a wedding venue that was, me and my husband both like, oh my Lord, we're going to have to take out a loan. um, so it depends on what the venue is. I will say that. But let's hypothetically say that venue is 10,000 and you still have to have decorations because perhaps decorations are not included. That means tablecloths, chair covers, and then you have to have with the decorations normally they come chafing dishes, spoon, knives, and forks, glassware, centerpieces, any backdrops, balloon backdrops, flower arrangements, all of that is another cost, right? And then you have food. We know that Toya served them chicken wings, but food is a whole other cost, right? So now you got the venue cost, you got to pay for the decorations, and then you got to pay for food. If you have any type of entertainment, you have to pay for the entertainment. That is another cost. Okay, that's another cost. If you have a bartender, most people love, and we know this group like to drink, so they probably had an open bar. Maybe it was a cash bar. I don't know. But if you have an open bar or a cash bar, you still have to pay for a bartender. And depending on the amount of people you have coming, some cities, counties, and states require you to have a licensed police officer on duty, right? Per people. Here where I live, they normally want you to have one officer per 50 people. That's just a fact. So that's another cost. The bartender's a cost. The officer security is another cost, right? So that's pretty much what it's going to cost you. Those things you have to factor into the cost of what it takes to do an event. So Toya's a good party planner, but you spent so much money on the venue and the party that you were only able to give away 2 scholarships for $5,000 each. I think it was a good idea. Great job. Correct, Symmetry. But most of the time, the insurance is included with the venue. At least it is here, Symmetry. It may be different in other states. Here, you're most of the time, everything that you're gonna get is they're gonna have their own insurance, including your DJ. He has here, when I threw my last big party, even my DJ had his own insurance. My security guy, of course, he was an off-duty officer, and I just paid him whatever he costs. The bartenders, they have their own insurance. Of course, the venue has insurance, but that could be a separate cost depending on where you are and what you negotiate. But everything is a cost. It is. And I wonder exactly how much they spend on that venue. They probably spend a good grip. especially since all the ladies gave $2,500 each. And then Toya said that she sold $10,000 worth of tickets. That's what she said. So if that is indeed the fact, that means that all the women who donated only donated to the party. Let's rewind that as well, because they said that Toya didn't give. So, from my understanding, listening, Toya and in the first Med Gala, because this was Gala number 3, Med Gala number 1, Jackie had paid for everything, the seed money, getting the thing started, getting the venue together, and so forth and so on. And the ladies felt like, because their names were on it, because this is the Ladies of Married to Medicine presents the Med Gala, they decided they would pay. They would help with the expenses. They all sent Jackie the money. Apparently, there was an argument that ensued, according to Dr. Heavenly, and Jackie sent everybody back their money. All the ladies agreed to send Jackie back the money. Everybody sent money back but Toya. Okay. They said that Toya, when they came, that Eugene donated $500, but everybody else gave $2,500. Okay. Or was that the season they asked for 1,000? I'm not really sure. I think it's either 1,000 or 25. The second year, which was last year, they asked everybody for 2,500. Toya decided and took it upon herself to send over bottles of wine. They didn't ask for bottles of wine. They asked for money, because they needed money for the venue. I'm gonna show y'all something that I saw today, and I thought it was worth a share. Let me add it to my thingy-majiggy. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up. And I want you to see this, because I think we all sometimes need a visual picture so that we can see how things actually work, and sometimes just to make things make sense. Not saying that we don't know how to make things make sense, but sometimes I think we just need a visual picture. This says, and I'm going to read it to you. This is something I found over on the Facebook. It said, picture this, make it make sense. This year, due to popular opinion, instead of the monetary awards that we'd given the prior year, each of our scholarship recipients will receive 2 mystery cases of wine. Each recipient will need to call the college or university of their choice to arrange for the wines to be used as payment for their books, tuition, housing, and any other expenses. If you should have any problem being able to use this scholarship, you may contact Dr. and Mrs. Eugene Bush. Thank you, Toya and Eugene, for your splendid and much needed contribution. Nowhere on earth can you pay anybody in wine. Nowhere. Maybe, them people that be doing that powder, they may take it, but you can't pay nobody else in wine and beer. You can't. Cigarettes. That's not normally how things transpire in the big world. Normally, money moves the world. You go out to talk to a venue about getting their space for an event, they want money. They want a deposit, first of all. And I think it's absurd to not be transparent when you're handling other people's money. Now, they did say that Toya said that in years past that Jackie just asked for money and she was never transparent. Jackie was shaking her head. Yeah, I don't know if that's truth or not, because the women said that wasn't true. That wasn't true. We saw that on last year. They had Phaedra out there working. They had Quad out there working. They had Dr. Heavily out there working to make that event what it was. So you can't tell me that nobody knew last year what was going on. I think they may have excluded Toya because she did not pay. Also, the year that she brought the wine, which was last season, she put up they had a step and repeat, right? The step and repeat, depending on how many times you want your name on it, was the amount of money that you were supposed to give per person. Toya decided she didn't want to give any money, so her name was not on the step and repeat. So what she did was she brought her own banner, put it up behind her wine, and then, and guess what? Eugene was right there helping her be messy at that last gala. And then when they asked her to take the sign, the lady, one of the event planners, went and took the sign down. Toya went and got her sign back and put it right back up. But you want people to make this make sense that that's actually what it's supposed to do. It's actually what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to be sponsoring a gala. And Quad said Toya knew that this was our event. She's known that for years. Why she set up and tried to act like it was Jackie's event is beyond me. It is what it is. I will say this. We can't rewrite history. We just can't. We have to take it for what it is and move forward. We've been watching this show. It's a great show. Great show. But me, myself, and I'm not going to allow anybody to rewrite history or past events from this show. I remember what they've done. I remember the things they've done. Eugene, Toya, Quad, Heavenly, Dr. Damon, Curtis, Dr. Jackie, Dr. Simone, Cecil. I remember the things they've done on the show. If you think about Dr. Mimi and Steve, what did they do to Eugene for him to do what he did to them? What did they do to them? What did they do to him? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Steve had every right to be angry. Number one, you embarrassed him. That's the number one thing. And Steve was right. They gave $5,000 a year before for a bowl. And that one donation, it surpassed anything that they had given him, which was just way too much. Just way too much. And I think what they need to look at accountability versus their performance. Be accountable for what you're doing. Make sure that you're doing the right thing, because everybody's pointing fingers at each other. Eugene wants Damon to hold Heavenly accountable, and the rest of the group wants Eugene to hold Toya accountable. So who's going to hold anybody accountable if everybody's pointing fingers and not being accountable? Instead, they're just putting on a performance. I think those are things they need to look at. I think they also need to address their language. There's how they address things when it comes down to their languages. How do we talk to each other? You know, if you don't want to be known as being unhinged, stop acting unhinged, right? Mama, I say this all the time. If you don't want to be known as a liar, stop lying. That's how that works. And then I think people need to state the facts. State the facts. Curtis, you were touching other women. So don't get out here and try to act like, oh my God, somebody did something drastically. Nobody did nothing to you. Anybody did nothing to you. She made a statement, address it and move on. Okay, yeah, I've been touching on the girls, girl. I was touching on the women. What you gonna do about it? I ain't touched them no more. And move on. Apologize. Apologize to Heavenly for touching her waist. Apologize for Toya for sitting on your lap. And move on from that. I think that's the best part of that. Live for me say Eugene don't got Steve swag. That's it. That's all. I think there's more to it than the swag. I really do. I think it's more to it than the swag. I think that a lot of the things that was said on that live with Carlos King, it stung and it didn't feel good because it seemed as though they were being pulled or singled out to be picked on. As much as she say Heavenly do this, and Heavenly had more smoke for her than anybody, but she zeroed in at Dr. Mimi. Why? Does she think Dr. Mimi's a weak link? What was the reason for Toya zeroing in on her? What was the reason for Eugene zeroing in on Steve? And then trying to embarrass them. And I was so glad when Contessa actually spoke up and said, why were you at the door? This was a woman. This was our event. Who asked you to stand at the door? And he goes, well, Toya asked me. You shouldn't have been there. These other women have asked Toya, what is it that we can do? I want to help. I want to help. Toya kept them so uninvolved, but she brought her husband to be nasty to her castmates. Again, I believe the Harrises dislike everybody on the show. I believe they dislike everybody except the Whitmores. I don't think they like Jackie and her husband. I don't think they like Quad. I don't think they like Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon. I don't think they like Angel. I think she likes Brandy. So Simone, Brandy, and Cecil are the only people they like. Perhaps they need to leave the show because you're going to have to learn how to get along with others to be on the show. It's just going to have to happen. And I think that they need to address some of the ongoing conflicts and resolve them. Don't just be a part of it. Let's address this conflict. Let's resolve this conflict, because if you don't resolve them, then they just continue and continue and continue. But child, this was a good season. I totally enjoyed it. I'm gonna tell you this. I believe the realest group, the realest. I'm gonna start a new poll too. Who provided the most reality? And I'm gonna say the Sanders. Number one. Because I believe that Mimi and her family, I believe that they provided the most reality. I believe they gave us the real raw dog truth. I believe what we saw in them is something they deal with on a daily basis. I believe next we would have the Whitmores. I believe they actually gave us the real. I really believe that that's who at the core, I believe that's who they are. I really do. I'm trying to think, is there anybody else that I want to put on this? We'll do the Kimes. I believe this is another one too. I believe that Heavenly and Damon gave us the real when it came down to their son. I believe they gave us the real when it came down to their son. I believe that was something that really bothered them that they needed to address. And I believe they needed to address the family on what had happened. Let me see if did it ever pop up? Let me stop this poll. Let's do this. There we go. I believe that the Kimes needed to address the issue with the son. The very fact that he had been arrested, that he what that looked like. What was the issue behind it? I did not like the fact that Toya tried to say, at least my husband, trust me with my son. Damon Jr. is a grown man. He's not a boy. He's a grown man. I don't think that Dr. Damon does not trust Heavenly with their son. What I believe is that he was trying to protect Heavenly. And I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes women, we should be grateful if we have someone who is willing to protect us. She didn't know what had happened to her son. She did say that they did what they could, got him into a facility so that he could get some treatment. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate them being real with us about a situation that they really could not actually probably even avoid. I believe that it was just something that had just been meaning to happen. I believe it may even change the trajectory of what Dr. Heavenly will be able to provide to her constituents when she becomes Congresswoman of her district, because she told us about the number of people who are incarcerated for mental illness. That's sad, because jails are not an appropriate place for someone who is having a mental crisis. It's not. But so often that's where they end up at. So often that's where they end up at. And I believe with all of my beings that is where Damon Jr. was. I did not like the fact that Toya and Eugene thought that was cute to even mention. Oh, Toya for sure. Oh, at least my husband trusts me with my son. Child. He should. He's 15. Should trust you with your son. Anywho, that grind me. The Whitmores and their boys, even though they're adults, live away from home, I believe they gave us the real. I really believe that that's who they are. At the end of the day, at the core of who they are, I believe they are that family. They get together and fuss and scream and fuss and cuss at each other. I believe that. Um, I also believe that Simone feels undervalued at home. I believe that those men, because Simone has worked and been out delivering babies, lived at the West House or the North House, I forgot which house it was, and was not readily available. You had the husband there with his boys, raising them while she was out delivering babies. And I believe that they pretty much probably built a nest around each other. I could tell that Michael's very close with Simone, but those men actually have a bond. Those boys, he has a bond with his boys, so much so that he takes up for them even when they're dead wrong. And but I really believe they gave us the real. The Harrises, this season, they didn't really show us much about their lives other than the boys cooking. I appreciate that. Them teaching Ashton, I believe, how to drive. Um, we saw Eugene taking the boys out to, I think they were coloring. They went to paint. Um, so we don't really get a gist of what their home life is other than that, right? Um, this season, I will say, we're just talking about this season per se. So I'm gonna say this is my order. The Sanders number one. I'm gonna say the Kimes two and the Whitmores number three is where I'm gonna put the Harrises. They could take fourth place. I didn't really see anything other than that. I appreciate the Sanders for bringing us their autism story. I appreciate that. I definitely do. I appreciate the Kimes for talking to us about mental health when it comes down to our young men, young women, and what should be done, and even trying to create laws and outlets so that mental health can be addressed and not these gentlemen being put in solitary confinement or imprisonment for the fact that they had a mental breakdown or a mental health crisis. Um, I appreciate the Whitmores for showing us the raw, dog, ugly truth that it's like to raise these young men and young women in today's world. These what are they? I guess these kids would be millennials. Um, their kids may, yeah, their children may be millennials. I'm not sure. Um, but it's not easy raising young people. They do feel entitled because I think most of us try to give our children more than what we had, right? I had this, okay, I want to do that plus for you. And my dad would always say that I did this and I want you to have that. And I was like, well, Dad, I want you to have the same thing. He's like, no, I'm getting older. You go get it. You get it for you and you have it for your family and give it to your kids. And I think sometimes that's sad, but I appreciate the Whitmores for giving us that um a taste of what it looks like to be parents to I'm sorry, not teenage, young adults who are trying to navigate this world on your dime. Because I really can relate to that. Um, and then of course, like I said, the Harrises who didn't really show us anything. Anywho, you guys, I've enjoyed this. I enjoyed this season of Married to Medicine. I'm gonna miss my favorite reality TV show. But on Sunday, we have the Real Housewives of Atlanta returning. And y'all, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna do a live and we're gonna watch it as it comes on Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Meet me here at Lady Rose Channel. Anywho, you guys, you said, wow, I really need to tap back into Married to Medicine. The kids of the show are learning how to drive and things. Toya's boys were little last time I watched. They are big kids. I believe one just turned 17 or 16. Maybe it was 16. And he actually got King arranged for him to drive, I think, Ferrari for his birthday. So, yeah, these kids are growing up. Kids are growing up. You say, woohoo, yes. Woohoo! Real Housewives of Atlanta are coming back, and baby, it looks like it's gonna be a good season. We got K Michelle, we got Angela Oakley, we got Portia Williams, we got who else we got? Kelly for Fiara, I believe, for Fanel, I'm sorry. Kelly, we have Shamia, baby. Shamia over there telling her husband she want her own. The girl, This man done set you up. You tripping. You is tripping. K Michelle gonna go off. She gonna start shaking the tables. They done already showed us that they doing some cast live, and she gets up and walks out. This was recently. I'm trying to think who else is on the show because the cast is full. Um, we got Cynthia coming in as a friend of. I'm ready for the girls of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Before there was a Married to Medicine, I was a Real Housewives of Atlanta girl. I couldn't stand Nene Leakes, and all of a sudden I started liking her. I don't know when I started liking Nene. By the time it was over, I was like, yeah, Nene needs to go. Even though I liked her, I was like, yeah, I think she's over this. But Real Housewives of Atlanta is my show. I used to love the very fact that they showed us the glamour, right? The glitz, the glamour, even if some of it was fake. They did show us the glitz, the glamour. I used to love uh Lisa Wu. I thought Lisa Wu was just absolutely gorgeous. And then she was married to that old fine Ed Hartwell. Oh my God. Yes. Anywho, y'all, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be right here watching Real Housewives of Atlanta live. We're going to watch it live. I am going to bring y'all Bell Collectors and Love and Marriage Transfer. Y'all, next week, it may just have to be a double up because I just can't bring myself to take no notes on none of this because Bell Collectors this week to me was boring. Seemed like they just did a whole bunch of rumor mills. You give me a rumor, I give you a rumor. Michael got a baby on the way, and girl, I heard this about you. Just a bunch of who shot John. Anywho, y'all, we are going to. I'm gonna try to get it out there. See, I'm gonna buckle myself down and do it. Whew. I don't want to, but I'm gonna do it. Anyway, if no one told you today they love you, I love you, and there ain't a thing you can do about it. I don't care what you say about it. Ain't a thing you can do about it. You guys, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and then I'm gonna go. Y'all know I be saying stuff. Let me take that off the screen because this one I believe. Let me see. The Sanders won this poll, actual poll. So let's stop that one and hide it. And on this one, Heavenly, she had the best season. She had the best season this season on Married to Medicine. So Heavenly got that one. Eugene came in. That was only because I voted for him. And on the second one, the Sanders got I'm sorry. Yeah, the Sanders got 67%. The Kimes got 33%. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get on up out of here. I want y'all to be mindful of things that are around you, things that you allow to set into your spirit or words that you allow to fester on you. I am one that I pretty much gonna say it and I'm gonna walk off. I don't have time to go back and forth with you. Um, and some people aren't worth addressing. And I'm being very, very honest. They just are not. Um, I don't care how much they try to get your attention. Some people are just beneath you. And I think that it's okay to be that way. Not that you think that you're better than anyone else, but I believe it's okay to say, you know what? I just don't lay down with dogs and get up with fleas. So I'm just not going to address you, period. Um, Last night I did share a live that I saw on Instagram. I did it because I wanted to. I do most of the things I do because I want to. Probably all of the things I do because I want to. Nobody can tell me what to do. I do it because I want to do it. All right? I want y'all to get that through your heads. I do what I want to do. And I want to thank you, all of the new subscribers. Let me look at my numbers right now. Between yesterday, because I took a screenshot yesterday, between yesterday and today, I want to thank you guys for, drum roll, 38 new subscribers. I am appreciative. I appreciate you guys for coming over here, watching my Lila channel as you be over there saying, girl. And for the 1,200 people that have watched that True Tea live that I posted on yesterday. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I love everybody. I don't dislike none of y'all. Some of y'all, I don't want to be around you. Don't want to walk next to you. Ain't got no conversation for you. But I love everybody because I can't get to heaven not loving folks. I just don't like your behaviors. And it's okay to call out people's behavior and move on with your life. Girl, nobody tell me what to do. I just want you to get that through your thick, nappy head. No one tells me what to do. I do what I want to do. And you over there talking about me all night, good. This is just running people over here to this little channel. The little channel. So we can get on, get monetized. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. Let me tell you something. Sometimes I come down here, don't be 2 or 3 people over here watching me. And guess what? I thank God for the 2 or 3 people that come in here to watch me. Do you hear me? I pray that God abundantly blesses your lives and that He enlarges your territory. I mean that with everything in me, because what I don't want around me is hate. What I don't want around me is jealousy. What I don't want around me is envy. I want people who truly want to sit down and have some conversations and be better people. That's what I want around me. I don't want to be beefing with none of y'all because y'all can't hold a candle to me, baby. At least that's how I feel about it. You ain't gonna dim my light. Dim your own light. Blow your candle out. Because I'm gonna try to get 3 or 4 more candles and put them together so my light can be stronger. I'm gonna keep my lamp trimmed and burning. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep my lamp. As you know what a kerosene lamp is, you keep that wick trimmed and keep that fire nice and blue and beautiful. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep my lamp trimmed and burning. I don't care if you don't like it. I do not. Thank you for talking about me, because you're running people over here to see what Lady Rowe talking about. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. And I got more for you guys. We're going to talk about some other things. I really want to start discussing Destiny. Destiny's out here making some moves, y'all. She has the foundation. I see recently, a few weeks ago, they did a fundraiser for the foundation. So we want to start talking about those things. She did a live today talking about a house that she's about to sell, talking about her real estate. Destiny out here doing the doggone thing. She is. There's so much content out here. In fact, you could go to Lipstick Alley and Reddit and find you a subject to talk about if you need some content. I'm almost positive that these other people don't need their content. You to be using them as content every day. There's so much content out here. Trust me. There's a lot of, you can go to TikTok, find you a video of somebody that says something about something and just start your whole content off of it. It's that simple. It's that simple. But I just want you to know, I don't care nothing about you. I don't care nothing about you and them Dollar Tree cups that you be selling and that Madio's life body that you got. I don't care nothing about you. Really, I do not. I have a great life. I don't think about you at night. I brush my teeth and I go to bed. So I don't know what the deal is with some of y'all, but I pray to God y'all find peace, because I have it. All right? Look for peace. I will talk to you guys later. Everybody saying good night. Good night, Bastille. She said, good night, I'm late. Thanks for even coming in. Go to timeout right now. Oh, do I have to? Do I have to? You say, Shayna, she be getting too grown at times. Girl, I am. I'm grown. She right, though. I am. I thank you. Thank you. Stop giving out this free advice, Lady Rowe. I'm telling you, girl, keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Don't let nobody try to put your light out, because that's what they coming to do, try to snuff your light out. Let them fight themselves. Fight yourself. Because y'all the miserable ones. Not me. I'm not miserable. Nothing. If this page, let me tell you something. This page over here, if Lady Rowe's channel never gets monetized, if it never gets monetized, guess what? I'm not going to lose nothing, because I go to work every day. Try it. Try it. Try it. That's all I can say to you. Stop laying on that bed eating all day and get up and go to work, or treadmill one. Anywho, talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.